Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Magic the Gathering Arena. It's me, Dark Master, for Dark Master Series Gaming, and today is a special day. The Streets of New Capenna has dropped and my pre-order stuff has come through. We're going to do a video today of opening about 100 packs of the new set. We're going to look through the cards and we're going to study them and see what's what with them. See what's good, what's not. And hopefully I'll continue to do a few episodes of decks that have been constructed with the new cards. Maybe follow some of the meta decks from this companion app here, my Untapped.gg. See what's playing well and what isn't, and just copying it and seeing what's what. So at the moment we have got the Adversary Construct Pet, 3-player draft tokens, a sealed event entry, and a new sleeve here. And I'm guessing we've got Obnixilis avatar. We've also got 50 packs of the new Capenna, 10 packs of the Mythic packs, the new Mythic packs. We've got an Elspeth Resplendent, legendary Planeswalker. I've not seen this yet, so let's have a look. The +1 is choose up to one target creature, put a 1/1 counter and a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink or vigilance on it. For the -3, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And a shield counter is if a permanent with a shield counter on it will be dealt damage or destroyed, remove a shield counter from it instead. For -7, it's create 5 3/3 White Angel creature tokens with flying. That is quite bad, quite mental, quite powerful. Will we get to -7, do you think? You know, it's one of them things. Now this is the guy, people are saying that this guy is absolutely broken and it's probably heading for a ban or a rebalancing. And this is Obnixilis, the Adversary, and Casualty X. The copy isn't legendary and has starting loyalty X. So as you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power X. When you do, copy this spell. So you technically got 2 of these on the board at once. One's a copy and it's not legendary, so yeah. +1, each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. If you control a demon or devil, you gain 2 life. And for -2, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And for -7, target player draws 7 cards and loses 7 life. Wow. Is this just... Yeah, this is just, you know, the... Oh, what you call it? The card style for it. That's the one. Hey, man. Can't even get my words out. Anyway, we've got more, apparently. Available now. Streets of New Capenna. Okay. Okay, whatever that means. So, we've still got our quest from the other day that we didn't really want to finish because we managed to make it all the way to the end of the mastery. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this gold to buy some packs to go along with these 50. So we're going to go into the store. Oh, before we do that, there is a code that you can use to get another 3 packs. And that code is play SNC. That's Streets of New Capenna. And that will give you 3 more packs which you can claim for yourselves. You can get wildcard bundles now. I mean, what do you get with it? 12 rare wildcards, 4 mythic wildcards for, well, it's about 40 UK pounds. Is it worth it? Not entirely sure. I'll probably stay away from that. That seems a bit like a cash grab. Let's have a look. What else have we got in the store at the moment now? Oh, so we've got Metropolis Full Art Lands. Well, they look pretty sweet. I can't wait to get them with my actual cards for my, you know, my proper cards for me binder. Who's the other planeswalker here? Vivian on the Hunt. Right. And yeah, these are just all card styles. Alright, let's go to the packs. Right. I mean, we can buy 45 packs of New Capenna, so we'll probably buy 45 packs. And then buy another, what? Another 5? Oh, what's this? Jaxis the Troublemaker. Discard a card, create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control. It gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step, activate only as a sorcery, and it's got a blitz cost of 2. And a blitz is, if you cast this spell for its blitz cost, it gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Right. Okay, so that's nice to know. And I think we're just going to buy 5 more packs. We can buy 15 if we want, but we're just going to buy 5 for now. So there's 3. 4, 5. Right. So we've got 103 packs to open. So should we start now then? We're just going to open them 1 pack at a time for now, until we start to see duplicates of what we've already got. And then what we're going to do then is we'll just open them 10 at a time to get the rares. You know, if we've seen the same cards all the time, what's the point of reading them all again, kind of thing. So once the first start going off them. So first off, we've got Cabaret Initiate. So creature, Raccoon Citizen, and for 2 plus a red or a white, Cabaret Initiate gains double strike until the end of the turn. Corrupt Court Official. When Corrupt Court Official enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card. So that's good. That'll be good for a discard deck. Inspiring Overseer. When Inspiring Overseer enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life and draw a card. And Body Dropper. It's a Rakdos colours. Whenever you sacrifice another creature, put a 1/1 counter on Body Dropper. And sacrifice another creature, Body Dropper gains menace until the end of the turn. So that'll be good for a sacrifice deck. Broken Wings. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. We've got a Fairy Vandal. Flash and Flying. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Fairy Vandal. So that'll probably be good for a rogue deck. And Rogue's Gallery. For each colour, return up to 1 target creature card of that colour from your graveyard to your hand. And what have we got here? Endless Detour. And that is green, white and blue. The owner of target spell, non-land permanent, or card in a graveyard puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Right. Oh, well, that's pretty handy. So, next, let's see what we got. And at the bottom right hand corner, it shows us how many cards are in the set. 1,044. And we've got 19 so far. So, 1.8% of the collection. Security Bypass. Enchant creature. As long as enchanted creature is attacking alone, it can't be blocked. Enchanted creature has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, it connives. And to connive, it means to have a creature connive, draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded a non-land card, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. Jetmare's Fixer, and that is Gruul colours. Jetmare's Fixer gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to activate this ability, put a 1/1 counter on Jetmare's Fixer instead. Civic Gardener. Whenever Civic Gardener attacks, untap target creature or land. Murder. So this is a reprint. I've seen Murder in, I think it was the 2015 set. It's probably been in sets since then as well. But that's basically destroy target creature. Plain and simple. Buy your silence for 5. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a treasure token. And we've got Patch Up. Return up to 3 target creature cards with total mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And we've got Brass Knuckles for 4, and it's an artifact equipment. When you cast this spell, copy it. The copy becomes a token. Equipped creature has double strike as long as 2 or more equipment are attached to it. And we get a Scheming Fence, and that's Azorius colours. Human Citizen. As Scheming Fence enters the battlefield, you may choose a non-land permanent. Activated abilities of the chosen permanent can't be activated. Scheming Fence has all activated abilities of the chosen permanent except for loyalty abilities. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to activate those abilities. Wow, so that's pretty like taking power off other cards and giving them to yourselves. So that's pretty sweet. Let's have a look at the next card. Next pack, should I say. So we have got Echo Inspector. When Echo Inspector enters the battlefield, it connives. Jackhammer. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Maestros's Theatre, and it's a land. That's one of the new special lands. When Maestros Theatre enters the battlefield, sacrifice it. When you do, search your library for a basic island, swamp, or mountain card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle, and you gain 1 life. Big Score. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards, and create 2 treasure tokens. I'm guessing all of the Izzet decks will be having this one. And we've already had a Buy Your Silence, so that's the first one that we've got a duplicate of. A Night Clubber. When Night Clubber enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of the turn. Okay. And we've also got Refuse to Yield. Target creature gets +2/+7 until end of turn, and untap it. And that's good if you need to keep something on the board and defend. And Unleash the Inferno. Unleash the Inferno deals 7 damage to target creature or planeswalker. When it deals excess damage this way, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that amount of excess damage. Wow, so that's pretty sweet. So if you deal like 4 damage to a planeswalker and there's 3 damage left, so if they have an artifact or an enchantment which is worth 3, that excess damage can actually destroy that too. So that's like a 2 for 1 maybe sometimes, which would be pretty decent. And we're starting to get a couple of wild cards here. So we've got a Civil Servant for Selesnya colours. Whenever Civil Servant attacks, you may tap another untapped citizen you control. If you do, Civil Servant gets +1/+0 and gains lifelink until the end of the turn. And a Revel Ruiner. It's got Menace. When Revel Ruiner enters the battlefield, it connives. We've got a Glamorous Outlaw. When Glamorous Outlaw enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to each opponent and you scry 2. Exile for 2, I think that is. Yeah, for 2. Exile Glamorous Outlaw from your hand. Target land gains. Tap, add blue, black or red until Glamorous Outlaw is cast from exile. You may cast Glamorous Outlaw for as long as it remains exiled. Cabaret Courtyard. And that's another one of these special lands where you sacrifice it. You sacrifice it when it enters the battlefield, and you can search your library for basic mountain, forest or plains card, and then you gain 1 life. Call in a professional. Players can't gain life this turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Call in a professional deals 3 damage to any target. Shield counters don't prevent this damage as they are removed. That seems like a pretty decent card. Mono red might be coming back for a return. And we got a Mythic rare wildcard as well. Next pack. Broker's Initiator. So for 4 and a green or blue mana, Broker's Initiate has base power and toughness 5/5 until the end of the turn. Antagonize. Target creature gets +4/+3 until the end of the turn. We've had the Cabaretti Initiate in a previous pack. Case the Joint. Draw 2 cards, then look at the top card of each player's library. Ready to Rumble. Choose 1. Ready to Rumble deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or destroy target artifact. Rocco Cabaretti Caretaker, or Catterer, sorry, Catterer. When Rocco Cabaretti Catterer enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. We've got a Windshield Agent. Windshield Agent enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Whenever Windshield Agent attacks, up to 1 other target creature gains flying until the end of the turn. And we've got an Extraction Specialist. It's a human rogue, it's a lifelink. When Extraction Specialist enters the battlefield, return target creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature can't attack or block for as long as you control Extraction Specialist. We've got Social Climber. So this is a human druid, alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Raphane's Informant. When Raphane's Informant enters the battlefield, it connives. So that's draw a card, then discard a card. And if it's a non-land, put a 1/1 counter on it. Capenna Express. Artifact Vehicle. Sacrifice a treasure. Capenna Express becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Crew 3, and it's a 6/6. Sparrow's Adjudicators. Creature Cat Citizen. When Sparrow's Adjudicators enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls can't attack or block until your next turn. For 2, we exile Sparrow's Adjudicators from your hand. Target land gains tap, add forest, plains, or water until Sparrow's Adjudicator is cast from exile. You may cast Sparrow's Adjudicators for as long as it remains exiled. I said water, I meant island. Raphane's Guidance. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. You may cast Raphane's Guidance from your graveyard by paying 3, 2 plus a white, rather than paying its mana cost. Got a Fatal Grudge, which is Rakdos colours. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a non-land permanent. Each opponent chooses a permanent they control that shares a type with the sacrificed permanent and sacrifices it. Draw a card. An offer you can't refuse. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Wow. Unlicensed Hearse. So it's an artifact vehicle. Exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. Unlicensed Hearse power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards exiled with it. Crew 2. Now that could be quite dangerous. Especially in the Abzan Vehicles deck. We've had a couple of these. Revelation of Power. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. If it has a counter on it, it also gains flying and lifelink until the end of the turn. Goldhound. First Strike and Menace. Sacrifice Goldhound. Add 1 mana of any colour. We've got a Metropolis Angel. And it's got flying. It's an angel soldier. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures with counters on them, draw a card. And we've got Mr. Orfeo the Boulder. Legendary creature Rhino Warrior. Whenever you attack, double target creature's power until end of turn. We've got another Extraction Specialist. Glittermonger. Create a treasure token. Plain and simple. Extract the truth. Choose one. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a creature, enchantment, or planeswalker card from it. That player discards that card. Or target opponent sacrifices an enchantment. Dig up the body. Casualty 1. As you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 1 or greater. When you do, copy this spell. If it has any targets, you may choose new targets for the copy. And that's mill 2 cards. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Celestial Regulator. When Celestial Regulator enters the battlefield, choose target creature you don't control and tap it. If you control a creature with a counter on it, the chosen creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Sticky Fingers. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. When enchanted creature dies, draw a card. We've got a Brazen Upstart. It's an Elf Shaman, and we've got Vigilance. When Brazen Upstart dies, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. We've got a Scuttling Butler, and it's an artifact creature construct. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more multicolored permanents, Scuttling Butler gains double strike until the end of the turn. And we've got Maestro's Ascendancy. It's an enchantment. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard by sacrificing a creature in addition to playing its other costs. If a spell cast this way will be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Right, what have we got here then? Masked Bandits. We've got Vigilance and Menace. Exile Masked Bandits from your hand. Target land gains Swamp, Mountain, or Forest until Masked Bandits is cast from exile. You may cast Masked Bandits for as long as it remains exiled. Crooked Custodian. It enters the battlefield tapped. Had a Civil Servant. We've had Adjudicators, and we've had Cabaretti Catterer. And what have we got here then? Ginny Fair, Jetmayer's Second. If you would create 1 or more tokens, you may instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste, or that many 3/1 green dog creature tokens with vigilance. Wow, that's pretty nice. Backstreet Bruiser. So this is a defender. As long as there are 2 or more counters among creatures you control, Backstreet Bruiser can attack as though it didn't have defender. Boon of Safety. It's an instant. Put a shield counter on target creature. Scry 1. Midnight Assassin. It's got flying and death touch. A Vampire Scrivener. Vampire Warlock. It's got flying. Whenever you gain life during your turn, put a 1/1 counter on Vampire Scrivener. Whenever you lose life during your turn, put a 1/1 counter on Vampire Scrivener. So regardless of anything, you're putting a 1/1 counter on Vampire Scrivener. Graveyard Shift. This spell has flash as long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And we've already had a Maestro's Ascendancy. And we've got Expendable Lackey. Expendable Lackey from your graveyard. Create a 1/1 blue fish creature token with this creature can't be blocked. Activate only as a sorcery. Psionic Snoop. It's got flash. When Psionic Snoop enters the battlefield, it connives. And we've got Rumour Gatherer. Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. This is the second time this ability is resolved this turn. Draw a card instead. And we've got Jetmayer's Garden. This will be one of the rare lands. Enters the battlefield tapped. You can either cycle it for 3, which means you may pay the cycling cost to discard this card and draw a card, or we can add a mountain, a forest, or a plains. Celebrity Fencer. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield in your control, put a 1/1 counter on Celebrity Fencer. Gathering Throng. When Gathering Throng enters the battlefield, you may search your library for any number of cards named Gathering Throng, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. A Rox Pummeler. Rox Pummeler enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Rox Pummeler has trample as long as it has a shield counter on it, and that's a 6/3. We've got a Kill Shot. Destroy target attacking creature. Luxurious Libation. Target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. And I'm guessing +X/+X is however many mana you've used to cast this. Voice of the Vermin. Enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Whenever Voice of the Vermin attacks, target creature you control has base power and toughness 4/4 until the end of the turn. And we've got Raphine Scheming Seer. And it's a legendary creature, Sphinx Demon. It's got flying and ward 1. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. We've only got one that we haven't seen here. Paragon of Modernity. Modernity. I can't even say it. Never mind. It's got flying. It's an angel warrior. And for 3 mana, Paragon of I gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. For exactly 3 colours of mana was spent to activate this ability. Put a 1/1 counter on it instead. And we've got Cemetery Tampering. Hideaway 5. So Hideaway, when this permanent enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom in a random order. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may mill 3 cards, then if there are 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. So for a self-mill deck, that would be pretty cool. Right, so we've only got 2 newish ones here. Slip out the back, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, it phases out. And Forge Boss, whenever you sacrifice 1 or more other creatures, Forge Boss deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability triggers only once each turn. And we've got a rare wild card. Kaldaya Strong Arm. When Kaldaya Strong Arm enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. And we've got a cost for Blitz. If you cast a spell for its Blitz cost, it gains haste. And when it dies, draw a card. But you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next turn. Incriminate. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same player. That player sacrifices 1 of them. Corpse Appraiser. When Corpse Appraiser enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard. If a card is put into exile this way, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 of those cards into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. And we've got Toulouse Clever Conductor. When Toulouse Clever Conductor enters the battlefield, it connives. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile them from your graveyard. When Toulouse dies, put the cards exiled with it into their owner's hand. Daring Escape. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until the end of the turn. Scry 1. Shattered Seraph. When Shattered Seraph enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Exile Shattered Seraph from your hand. Target land gains add plains, island or swamp until Shattered Seraph is cast from exile. You may cast Shattered Seraph for as long as it remains exiled. Prize Fight. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Create a treasure token. Sleep with the Fishes. Enchant creature. Have we had this one? No. When Sleep with the Fishes enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature and you create a 1/1 blue fish creature token with this creature can't be blocked. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. A little chat. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other on the bottom of your library. And it's got Casualty 1. As you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 1 or greater. You can copy the spell, and if it has any targets, you may choose new targets for the copy.
There's something almost
and we've got a Vivian on the hunt.
I like it about this city.
Bravo. I'm so glad that we've got one of these planeswalkers. So, for +2, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. For +1, we can mill 5 cards, then put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand. And for -1, create a 4/4 Green Rhino Warrior creature token. Right. Well, that sounds really good. Really liking this one. I think I'm going to be using this myself. Snooping Newsy. When Snooping Newsy enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards. As long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, Snooping Newsy gets +1/+1 and has lifelink. Seems to be a lot of mill cards in this set as well. There might be an idea to make a mill deck. Gilded Pinions. When Gilded Pinions enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Equipped creature has flying. We've got Ominous Parcel. Sacrifice Ominous Parcel. Search your library for a basic land card. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle. For 5, sacrifice Ominous Parcel. It deals 4 damage to target creature. Dusk Mangler. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, discard a card, or pay 4 life. When Dusk Mangler enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life. Reservoir Kraken. Got Trample and Ward. Is that 2? Ward 2. At the beginning of each combat, if Reservoir Kraken is untapped, any opponent may tap an untapped creature they control. If they do, tap Reservoir Kraken and create a 1/1 blue fish creature token with this creature can't be blocked. Most Wanted. We've got Flash. We can enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1. When enchanted creature dies, create 2 treasure tokens. Broker's Veteran. When Broker's Veteran dies, put a shield counter on target creature you control. Rooftop Nuisance. Casualty 1. Tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Draw a card. Majestic Metamorphosis. Until end of turn, target artifact or creature becomes a 4/4 angel artifact creature and gains flying. Draw a card. And we've got Taven Swindler. I'm pretty sure we had a Taven Swindler before. You flip a coin, and if you win the flip, you get 6 life. Yeah, remember that. Yeah, that was from. I'm sure they had a similar card in. Was it? Which one was it? School of Mages. Strixhaven, was it? Yeah. Haven Heartstabber. Bird Assassin. As long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, Haven Heartstabber gets +2/+2 and has Death Touch. When it dies, mill 2 cards, then draw a card. We've only got through 15 packs so far. Deal Gone Bad. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Target player mills 3 cards. Obscura Storefront. It's a land. When it enters the battlefield, we sacrifice it. You can get a basic plains, island or swamp card, and then you gain 1 life. Witness Protection. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a green and white citizen creature with base power and toughness 1/1 named Legitimate Business Person. Loses all other colours, card types, creature types and names. Wow. Raffine's Silencer. When Raffine's Silencer enters the battlefield, it connives. When Raffine's Silencer dies, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-X until the end of the turn, where X is Raffine's Silencer's power. We've got an Arc Splitter. Artifact Equipment. Quick creature has 1 mana. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature that's blocking it. Cut of the Profits. Casualty 3. You draw X cards and you lose X life. We've got a Racer's Ring. Racer's Ring enters the battlefield tapped. So you can tap it to add red or green, or 2+ red green. Sacrifice Racer's Ring, draw a card. Rob the Archives. Casualty 1. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn.
I'll show you city slickers.
And we've got another
How we handle
Vivian
things.
on the
I'll show
hunt.
you city slickers.
Oh, lovely.
How we
That'll
handle
save
things
our
wild.
mythic wild cards. Light 'em up. Casualty 2. Light 'em up deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. And we've got Involuntary Employment. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until the end of the turn. Create a treasure token. And we've got Ginny Fair Jetme's second again. Obscura Initiate. It's got flying, and for 1 and a plains or a swamp, Obscura Initiate gains lifelink until the end of the turn. Stimulus Package. When Stimulus Package enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. Sacrifice a treasure. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Undercover Operative. Shapeshifter Rogue. You may have Undercover Operative enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it enters with a shield counter on it if you control that creature. Got Waterfront District. Enters the battlefield tapped. It's a land. Skycrier. Bird Citizen. Flying. Lifelink. You and target opponent each draw a card. Backup Agent. When Backup Agent enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. And Professional Facebreaker. Human Warrior. Got Menace. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Sacrifice a treasure. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. We have got Gerdagoons. When Gerdagoons dies, create a tap 2/2 black rogue creature token. We've got Tramway Station, and that's another one of those lands. And we got Ognis the Dragon's Lash, and that's for 1 mana, red or a black, a red or a red and a green. And it's got haste. Whenever a creature you control with haste attacks, create a tapped treasure token. We've only got one here. Pious Sledge Arsonist. Deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of permanents you've sacrificed this turn. We've got Void Rend. This spell can't be countered. Destroy target non-land permanent. Well, I like that. I like the ones that can't be counted. And what have we got? Just one up here. Illicit shipment. Casualty 3. Search your library for a card. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle. Structural assault. Destroy all artifacts. Then structural assault deals damage to each creature equal to the number of artifacts that were put into graveyards from the battlefield this turn. For the family, target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. If you control 4 or more creatures, that creature gets +4/+4 until the end of the turn instead. Botanical Plaza, which is another one of the nice lands. Witty Roastmaster. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Witty Roastmaster deals 1 damage to each opponent. Swooping Protector. Enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. It's got Flash and Flying. And Zeatora's Proving Ground. Enters the battlefield tapped. And it's got Cycling for 3. Add Mountain, add Swamp, or add a Forest. We've got a High Rise Swordjack. Whenever High Rise Swordjack blocks a creature with flying, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Hold for Ransom. Enchant creature can't attack or block and has 7. Hold for Ransom's controller sacrifices it and draws a card. Activate only as a sorcery. Cutthroat Contender. Pay 1 life. Cutthroat Contender gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn. Activate only once each turn. Crew Captain. It's got haste. Crew Captain has indestructible as long as it entered the battlefield this turn. Glittering Stockpile. So tap to add Mountain, put a stash counter on Glittering Stockpile, and we can sacrifice Glittering Stockpile, add X mana of any one colour where X is the number of stash counters on Glittering Stockpile. Wiretapping. Hideaway 5. Whenever you draw your first card during each of your draw steps, draw a card. Then if you have 9 or more cards in hand, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Alright. Okay. Wrecking Crew. Reach and Trample. Maestrus Initiate. For 4 mana plus an island or a mountain. Exile Maestrus Initiate from your graveyard. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Sewer Crocodile. Can't be blocked this turn. This ability costs 3 less to activate if there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. Angelic Observer. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each citizen you control. Corpse Explosion. As an additional cost to cast this spell, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Corpse Explosion deals damage equal to the exile card's power to each creature and each planeswalker. Mayhem Patrol. Whenever Mayhem Patrol attacks, target creature gets +1/+0 till the end of the turn. Shadow of Mortality. Wow. So that's for 13 generic mana and 2 swamps. So that's 15 mana in total. If your life total is less than your starting life total, this spell costs X less to cast where X is the difference. Right. So if you have 7 life left, that's 13 less to cast it. Right, I get you. Okay. Exhibition Magician. Oh, that's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? Exhibition Magician. When Exhibition Magician enters the battlefield, choose one. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token, or create a treasure token. Warm Welcome. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. you may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Exotic pets. Create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens with this creature can't be blocked. Then for each kind of counter among creatures you control, put a counter of that kind on either of those tokens. Giada, Font of Hope, legendary creature angel. Flying and vigilance. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each angel you already control. Tap, add planes. Send this mana only to cast an angel spell. Plasma Jockey. Whenever Plasma Jockey attacks, target creature an opponent controls can't block this turn. Strangle. Strangle deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Speakeasy Server. When Speakeasy Server enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each other creature you control. Torch Breath. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue permanent. This spell can't be countered. Torch Breath deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. Raphane's Tower. And they're one of the cycle lands. We've got Chrome Cat. When Chrome Cat enters the battlefield, scry 1. Demon's Due, scry 2, then draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. Citizen's Crowbar. When Citizen's Crowbar enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token, then attach the crowbar to it. The quick creature gets +1/+1 and has planes, tap, sacrifice Citizen's Crowbar, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And we've got Ginny Fair, Japanese second again, so we've got 3 of those now. We're getting a nice collection of cards now. Syndicate Infiltrator. As long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, Syndicate Infiltrator gets +2/+2. We've got a Shadow of Mortality before. Join the Maestros. Casualty 2. Create a 4/3 Black Ogre Warrior creature token. Illuminate a Virtuoso. Double strike. Whenever Illuminate a Virtuoso becomes the target of a spell you control, it connives. And Disciplined Duelist. It's got double strike. Disciplined Duelist enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. And we've had a Raphane Scheming Seer before. Run Out of Town. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Pugnacious Pugilist. Whenever Pugnacious Pugilist attacks, create a tapped and attacking 1/1 Red Devil creature token with, when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Tainted Indulgence. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card unless there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. Luxior Giada's Gift. Legendary Artifact Equipment. Quick creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. Quick permanent isn't a planeswalker and is a creature in addition to its other types. Loyalty abilities can still be activated. Equip planeswalker 1. Equip 3. Right, not quite sure what that means, but hey. Rabble Rousing. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Then if you control 10 or more creatures, you may play the exile card without paying its mana cost. Right, I think we're just getting to the rare cards now. So we've had those before. We'll try up until we've got 60 packs left, and then it doesn't look like there's any firsts. Obscura Charm. Choose one. Return target multicoloured permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Or counter a target instant or sorcery spell. Or destroy target creature or planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. So we just got uncommons we're getting now. Grizzly Sigil. Choose target creature or planeswalker. If it was dealt non-combat damage this turn, Grizzly Sigil deals 3 damage to it and you'll gain 3 life. Otherwise, it deals 1 damage to it and you'll gain 1 life. Bouncer's Beatdown. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a black permanent. X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile it instead.
Go ahead and run.
We've got another Vivian on the hunt, so we've got 3 of those now. Riveteer's Initiate. Gains Death Touch until the end of the turn. Right, we've already had that. Got a first down here. Dapper Shieldmate enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. If it's your turn, Dapper Shieldmate gets +2/+0. Darling of the Masses. Other citizens you control get +1/+0. Whenever it attacks, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Errant Street Artist. Flash, Defender, Haste. Copy target spell you control that wasn't cast. You may choose new targets for the copy. Make Disappear. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. Quick Draw Dagger. It's got flash. When Quick Draw Dagger enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains first strike until the end of the turn, and its equipped creature gets +1/+1. Riveteer's Overlook. It's a land. Search your library for a basic swamp, mountain or forest card. Gain 1 life. Courier's Briefcase. Enters the battlefield. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Sacrifice Courier's Briefcase. Add 1 mana of any colour. And for one of every colour, sacrifice Courier's Briefcase. Draw 3 cards. We've got Fight Rigging. Hideaway 5. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Then if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Riveteer's Ascendancy. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may return target creature card with lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Do this only once each turn. Broker's Hideout. So that's another one with the forest, plains or island. 1 life and shuffle. Freelance Muscle. Attacks or blocks, it gets +X/+X until the end of the turn, whereas X is the greatest power and or toughness among other creatures you control. Evolving Door. Sacrifice a creature, count the colours of the sacrificed creature, then search your library for a creature card that's exactly that many colours, +1. Exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast the exiled card, activate only as a sorcery. Fleetfoot Dancer. Trample, Lifelink and Haste, and it's a 4/4. We'll go down to 50 and then we'll just open packs of 10 from there on in, because it's just getting very slim pickings now. We've got 34% of the cards so far. Hypnotic Grifter Connives. Even the score. This spell costs 3 island less to cast if an opponent has drawn 4 or more cards this turn. Draw X cards. Riveteer's Requisitioner. When it dies, create a treasure token. We've got another Revolving Door. We've got a Broker's Charm. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn. Deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Or we can destroy target enchantment or draw 2 cards. We've got Knockout Blow. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a red creature. Knockout Blow deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature and you gain 2 life. Rigo Streetwise Mentor. Enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Whenever you attack a player or planeswalker with 1 or more creatures with power 1 or less, draw a card. Fake Your Own Death. Till the end of the turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control and you create a treasure token. Incandescent Aria. Deals 3 damage to each non-token creature. Oh, that's a good card. And we've got Cormella Glamour Thief. Got Haste. And for 1 we can tap and add Island, Swamp and Mountain. Spend this mana only to cast instant or sorcery spells. When Glamour Thief dies, return up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Ziatora's Envoy. Deals combat damage to a player. Look at the top card of your library. You may play a land from the top of your library or cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to the damage dealt from the top of your library without paying its mana cost. If you don't, put that card into your hand. I'm going to open 10 now, see what happens. Right, we've got a couple of firsts, so let's have a quick look. Widespread Thieving. Whenever you cast a multicoloured spell, create a treasure token. Then you may pay 1 of every colour. If you do, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Workshop War Chief. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. When it dies, create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. Gala Greeters. Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Put a 1/1 counter on Gala Greeters. Create a tapped treasure token, or you gain 2 life. We'll open another 10. Cut Your Losses. Target player mills half their library, rounded down. Oh wow. Depopulate. Each player who controls a multicoloured creature draws a card, then destroy all creatures. Xander's Lounge. Sanctuary Warden. Enters the battlefield with 2 shield counters on it. Whenever Sanctuary Warden enters the battlefield or attacks, you may remove a counter from a creature or planeswalker you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. All-Seeing Arbiter. When All-Seeing Arbiter enters the battlefield or attacks, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Whenever you discard a card, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-0 until your next turn, where X is the number of different mana values among cards in your graveyard. Obscura Ascendancy. Whenever you cast a spell, if its mana value is equal to 1 plus the number of soul counters on Obscura Ascendancy, put a soul counter on Obscura Ascendancy, then create a 2/2 white spirit creature token with flying. As long as there are 5 or more soul counters on Obscura Ascendancy, spirits you control get +3/+3. Ledger Shredder. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Ledger Shredder connives. Broker's Ascendancy. At the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control and a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control. Obscura Interceptor. Flash Lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, it connives. When it connives this way, return up to 1 target spell to its owner's hand. We've got a Body Launderer. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, Body Launderer connives. When Body Launderer dies, return another target non-rogue creature card with equal or lesser power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So Yatora the Incinerator. Demon Dragon. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Zeotora the Incinerator deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target and you create 3 treasure tokens. Soul of Emancipation. When Soul of Emancipation enters the battlefield, destroy up to 3 other target non-land permanents. For each of those permanents, its controller creates a 3/3 White Angel creature token with flying. Got a Maestros Diabolus. When it attacks, if you don't control a devil token, create a tapped and attacking devil creature token. When it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Horde Hauler. When it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token for each artifact you control. Black Market Tycoon. At the beginning of your upkeep, Black Market Tycoon deals 2 damage to you for each treasure you control. Urabrask Heretic Praetor. And we've got it's a legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card this turn, instead they exile the top card of their library. They may play it this turn. Oh, that's nasty. Last 10 cards, 10 packs. Tenacious Underdog. Pay 2 life. You may cast Tenacious Underdog from your graveyard using its Blitz ability. Evelyn the Covetous. Or another vampire enters the battlefield under your control. Exile the top card of each player's library with a collection counter on it. Once each turn, you may play a card from exile with a collection counter on it. If it was exiled by an ability you controlled, and may spend as though it were mana of any colour to cast it. Cabaretti Ascendancy. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't put the card into your hand, you may put it on the bottom of your library. Mysterious Limousine. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 other target creature until Mysterious Limousine leaves the battlefield. If a creature is put into exile this way, return each other card exiled with Mysterious Limousine to the battlefield under its owner's control. Right, let's open up 10 of these new Mythic packs and see what we get. Right, so we've got some firsts here. Jetmir Nexus of Revels. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have Vigilance as long as you control 3 or more creatures. Creatures you control also get +1/+0 and have Trample as long as you control 6 or more creatures. And creatures you control also get +1/+0 and have Double Strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures. Titan of Industry. It's an elemental creature. It's got Reach and Trample. When Titan of Industry enters the battlefield, choose 2. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life. Create a 4/4 green Rhino creature token. Put a shield counter on a creature you control. We've also got Falco Sparrow Pact Weaver. Enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast spells from the top of your library by removing a counter from a creature you control in addition to paying their other costs. We've got another Praetor card there, so that's nice. Bootlegger's Stash. Lands you control have create a treasure token. Arcane Bombardment. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard. Then copy each card exiled with Arcane Bombardment. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana cost. And we've got Lord Xander the Collector. Enters the battlefield, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand, rounded down. Whenever Lord Xander attacks, defending player mills half their library, rounded down. When Lord Xander dies, target opponent sacrifices half the non-land permanents they control, rounded down. Nasty. So we've managed to get 63.3% of the Streets of New Capenna with just over 100 packs of cards. We can afford another 15 packs. I think I might do that, you know, but I'll do that off camera. Wow. How many wildcards do we have now then? So we have got 24 rares, 12 mythic rares. We could probably fill out our collection, a bit more of our collection with what we've got in wildcards there. We'll see what happens. I might just use them for decks when decks appear. Yeah, other than that, thank you very much for joining me on this episode as we opened up about 110 packs of Streets of New Capenna new cards, basically. So, yeah, if you've liked it, give us a like and a sub. And until next time, when I'll be back with a playable Streets of New Capenna deck. That's it from me, and I will see you guys on the flip side.